The bright lights of the Hollywood studio beamed down like artificial suns, illuminating the colorful set where history was about to be made in the form of laughter and affectionate revelations. Bob Eubanks, the seasoned star of the show, stepped onto the stage with a practiced charisma that immediately set the room at ease. He looked into the camera, his voice carrying the warmth of a longtime friend, and announced that more Newlywed Game on Bobtober was on the way. He invited the audience to stay tuned, for from Hollywood, it was officially the Newlywed Game. The air was thick with the excitement of four couples, each standing at the threshold of their lives together. Jennifer and Noble Johnson, a pair who had walked down the aisle 15 months ago, led the group with a steady confidence. Following them were Deborah and Carl Wood, who had done the iNews just 5 months ago. Tina and David Kit Silas, having made it official 7 months ago, shared a playful glance, while the final couple, Veronica and Joey Garza, remembered their vows from 13 months ago. Bob Eubanks greeted everyone with a hearty thank you and a welcoming hello. He noted the presence of the 4 delightful couples, assuming they were all ready to play the game. With the rules in mind, the ladies were asked to depart to a soundproof room, leaving the gentlemen behind to face round 1. In this opening segment, the husbands would be asked 5-point questions, requiring them to predict exactly how their wives would answer. Each correct match would bring them closer to a fabulous second honeymoon. Once the ladies had gone, Bob posed the first 5-point question. He asked the gentlemen which nickname their wives would choose for themselves if they had been born a man: Tiger, Pee-wee, or Bubba. Joey was the first to answer, confidently choosing Tiger. Carl followed suit, doubling down on Tiger and joking that he would probably get it when he got home if he were wrong. Noble also chose Tiger, and David finalized the unanimous decision by calling his wife a feisty tiger, noting there was not one Pee-wee in the whole bunch. The second question delved deeper into their private lives. Bob asked what their wives would admit was the most unexpected thing they ever did in a mad burst of passion. Carl shared a story about being pulled down for extracurricular activities when he was not quite ready. Noble recounted a similar moment when his wife grabbed him unexpectedly. David mentioned an early lunch break that turned into something more, and Joey proudly spoke of pulling over on the way to Vegas. The third question focused on facial features. Bob asked the men to complete a sentence about trading features with their wives. Noble suggested his wife would look better with his chin, while he would take her nose. David thought his wife would look better with his eyes, and he would take her ears. Joey chose his eyebrows for his wife and her nose for himself. Carl rounded out the group by suggesting his wife would take his eyes and he would take her nose. With the predictions recorded on cards, the ladies returned to the stage for the big reveal. Bob welcomed them back and began the process of checking the matches. Tina confirmed she was a tiger, matching David. Jennifer also said Tiger, matching Noble. Deborah and Veronica both chose Tiger as well, resulting in a perfect sweep for the first question as all the husbands had predicted correctly. When asked about the mad burst of passion, the answers began to diverge. Jennifer described a striptease in the kitchen while a roommate was in the living room, which did not quite match Noble's simpler description. Deborah told a story about coming home in the middle of the day while Carl was mopping the floor, forcing him to drop the mop for a moment in bed. The judge decided this was a match for the unexpected grab Carl had described. Veronica shared a story about a guest being in their bed during their dating days, but Joey had predicted the Vegas roadside incident, leading to a miss. Tina mentioned laughing at David, while David had predicted an early lunch break. The facial feature question saw mixed results. Deborah and Carl matched on the nose. Veronica chose lips and nose, while Joey had predicted eyebrows and nose. Tina and David matched on eyes, though David had mentioned ears while Tina said nose. Jennifer and Noble matched on the nose, but Noble had suggested his chin instead of Jennifer's choice of his mouth. After a short break, the roles reversed. The husbands were secluded offstage, and the ladies were asked to predict their husbands' responses for 10 points each. The first question concerned the art of making love and whether the husband would say he taught his wife or she taught him. Deborah, Tina, and Veronica all confidently stated they had taught their husbands a thing or two. Jennifer was the only one to say her husband had taught her. The next 10-point question was about hormones. Bob asked if the husband would say the wife could use a shot of estrogen or he could use a shot of testosterone. Jennifer, Tina, and Veronica all felt they could use the estrogen, citing their own aggressive or high-energy personalities. Deborah, however, thought her husband Carl could use some testosterone. Finally, the 25-point bonus question was presented. The ladies were asked to name the last piece of furniture they shopped for together. Veronica said a bed set, Deborah said recliner chairs, Jennifer said a sectional, and Tina said an office desk. The husbands returned for the final segment. On the question of who taught whom in the art of making love, Noble correctly matched Jennifer by saying he taught her. Carl and Joey both claimed to be the teachers, but their wives had said the opposite, leading to no points. David correctly matched Tina by admitting she had taught him. On the hormone question, Carl correctly guessed that Deborah would say he needed testosterone. Joey correctly guessed that Veronica would say she needed estrogen. David missed as he predicted he needed testosterone while Tina said she needed estrogen. Noble correctly guessed that Jennifer would say she needed estrogen. The climax of the show arrived with the furniture question. David guessed a bed, but Tina had said an office desk. Joey guessed a table, missing Veronica's answer of a bed set. Noble guessed a lamp, failing to match Jennifer's sectional. Carl guessed a bed, but Deborah had said a recliner chair. Because the scores were tied at 25 points for Noble and Jennifer and Carl and Deborah, the winner was decided by a pre-show prediction of their final scores. Noble had predicted 42, while Carl had predicted 40. Since 25 was the actual score, Carl and Deborah were the closest without going over. Bob Eubanks declared them the grand prize winners, destined for a beautiful honeymoon at the Wyndham Rose Hall in Jamaica. He thanked all the couples and the audience, bidding everyone a warm farewell until next time.